Trying to get Tebogo Tlhopane on the line because we had initially scheduled a conversation that was supposed to air at 20 minutes past 8. This morning it was how the Cannabis Trade Association of Africa was planning to lawyer up to fight the ban on cannabis and hemp, edible and food products. But late into yesterday afternoon, early evening, a government U-turn on the ban of cannabis and hemp products. In a statement released yesterday, a joint statement, President Cyril Ramaphosa said that in the light of further stakeholder consultations, the Minister of Health will withdraw the regulations under the Foodstuffs, Cosmetics and Disinfectants Act to prohibit the sale, importation and manufacture of foodstuff containing hemp and cannabis. We have him on the line, Tebogo Tlhopane, chairperson of the Cannabis Trade Association of Africa. Tebogo, we had scheduled this conversation to be about how you were lawyering up to challenge the ban on cannabis and hemp edible products. But since then, that ban has been rescinded. The president says that the minister has instructed the Minister of Health to reverse that ban. Your response to that?
Good morning, Lester, and good morning to your listeners. Look, we are quite happy about the development. Of course, it means that we don't have to spend a lot of money going to court, which is generally that's how these whole kind of things always kind of the time, knowing our country and how they're making these rules. But we're quite excited. But I think what will make us even more happy is to make sure that it's a permanent stay, and of course, assist during the directions of how and those kind of things that they're looking at trying to solve. Like, for example, they think about issues of hemp in food, but hemp is a very broad term, right? Are you conflating THC or what are we doing? Yeah. So I think it's important that all of us are quite understanding what do they mean, because in that entire gazette they didn't say what they meant. They just did it, and then we had to now do scramble to get to where we are now, heading to apply so much pressure.
Yeah, we had sought clarity from the Department of Health. We spoke to the Deputy Director General, Anban Pillay, and he says, well, there aren't any regulations at the moment. There's no regulations around should products be labeled. There's no regulation of having some sort of indication of how much THC is in a product. There's concerns that a child or an unwitting adult could mistake an unlabeled jar of gummies for simply being sweets. You said that there's issues around how these in the packaging of these products. We have child-proof packaging when it comes to medication in South Africa, but when it comes to cannabis products, and particularly the cannabis products that people eat, there's none at the moment. So let us just work on these regulations for now, and while we do that, let's curb the sale. And that is what I believe the merit behind this ban was. And wouldn't you believe that those regulations would be needed?
Regulations are needed, but you can't just cut the legs off and then you say let's talk and try and come up with some sort of regulation. It makes no sense. How do you regulate something that is banned? You can't start with a ban and say let's regulate, right? And what are we banning, right? There has to be a clear definition of what is hemp-based products or products that have derivatives of hemp. And hemp, Lester, is non-psychoactive part of cannabis plant, right? It's got almost 0.2% THC and all those kind of things, and it's used as food. It's an amazing superfood, hemp seed flour, and then there's milk that are coming out of that. That's one thing. Hemp seed oil. I mean, do you ever get intoxicated or psycho on hemp seed oil?
I'm currently on my face this morning. I moisturize with a CBD infused moisturizing product. I don't necessarily feel anyway different, but yeah, I can smell that I'm very green this morning.
You know what I mean? And it's beautiful. It feels great, and you don't get high. So let's put that one side. Okay, so when you put a ban and you say I ban everything, that means that you don't understand what you are talking about. You don't understand what you're referring to. So it's important that industry sit with the government to make them understand. Education is very important in this case, Lester. And we've been doing this since 2016, and it seems like it doesn't stop. And still, you still have this knee-jerk reactions that we see that the minister, DGs, everybody just go about doing it, including, of course, the regulator. So it's important that we separate this thing. Now, let's talk about THC, Lester.
No,
Yes,
we don't have
agree.
too much time. We're running out of time. Tebogo struggled to get you on earlier. But what's the next step? A meeting, a partnership, an indaba with the Department of Health of how you build regulations around
Well,
products?
we had a cannabis pakis that was organized by the presidency two years ago. So, and I think we could have something like that just to fast track some of those things and be able to give, confidence and, of course, assurances to the public that we are doing everything that we can to make sure that their children aren't exposed to these kind of things.
Tebogo Tlhopane, I have to leave with the unfortunately chairperson of the Cannabis Trade Association of Africa.